Good morning. Welcome back to the KIX 96.5 Morning Show. We love featuring artists that you should know about. And today we're heading to Canada to chat with singer-songwriter Dan Badger. Dan lives in Cambridge, Ontario. He's been playing guitar his whole life. He fronted a touring cover band, and then he started recording originals back in 2018, and he hasn't looked back. His latest single, Better Luck Next Time, is out now. We're excited to have Dan Badger on the show. First, Dan, thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, well, you're in Canada. So what's the story with Halloween in Canada? Do we celebrate? What's going on?
Oh, absolutely, we celebrate. All the ghosts and ghouls will be out this evening and knocking on doors and stuffing their bags full of candy.
Yeah, we were just talking about the weather. How was it when you were a kid? Because when I was a kid, it seemed like we froze on Halloween. How was it for you?
You know what? I mean, I absolutely remember going trick-or-treating, and, it's October, so, I mean, maybe there's snow, maybe there's not, but you definitely had your snowsuit on to keep warm underneath the costume, right?
Yeah, for sure. Your weather's kind of like ours, but you say you is it because the patterns are changing, because all of this crazy whatever's going on, the snow's coming later in the year? What's happening?
I think so. I mean, we'll get a snowstorm here and there before Christmas, but we're generally seeing green Christmases for the past few years. So, whether you want to be political about it or not, I don't know what the reason is, but
yeah, who knows?
Yeah, there's definitely a change. I wouldn't mind a little bit of snow at Christmas time.
Well, exactly. Well, it's nice having a white Christmas. It doesn't seem right if it's not a white Christmas anymore.
I find it changes my appreciation of Christmas. I mean, the building a little snow up before Christmas, and although I hate snow, I mean it puts me in the mood.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you were born in Quebec. You live in Ontario, so you speak French.
I do not.
Oh, you do not?
I do not.
Wow.
Actually, I left Quebec when I was 4 years old. Now, I spent most of my summers as a kid in Quebec, and you would think, but my grandfather, I mean, bless his heart, he passed away at 76 years old. He could understand the language, but he didn't even speak French.
Oh.
I'm from a very Anglophone area of Quebec, so knowing French is definitely helpful, but I guess not required.
Yeah, not needed anymore, that's for sure. Well, you got a funny story, Dan. You were a Metallica fan, you were a rocker, and then you went and saw Randy Travis and everything changed. Tell us about the story.
You know, I was a rocker. I mean, I was introduced, basically when I moved to Ontario, I was introduced by my babysitter's kids to Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and all these kind of bands, and that's where I turned into a rocker, and bless, love rock. But I mean, I always had the country roots from my parents and grandparents behind me, the Merle Haggards, the George Jones, the Johnny Cashes.
Yeah.
And so I guess in the rock aspect, when the power ballads started coming out with the acoustics and stuff, that really seemed to be my home in rock music. And I went and saw Metallica. I don't know, it was a Sunday night or a Monday night or something like that. And it was a great show. But my dad says, like a day later, goes, I've got some extra ticket. I got one extra ticket to go see Randy Travis. You want to come with me? Well, the truth is, in my cassette deck, I had Metallica and Motley Crue and Poison all playing on one side of my tape deck, and the other side was Randy Travis, Travis Tritt, Clint Black. Huh. And so I went and saw Randy Travis, and I've got my long hair and my heavy metal T-shirt, and I do not fit in whatsoever. And I'm watching women walk up to Randy Travis and lay bouquets of roses at his feet, and and people are clapping after every song, and I'm like, that's when it triggered me. I'm like, like there's a different. It's not that it's it's not better or worse. It was just a different kind of respect for Randy versus Metallica. And secondly, I really realized that I probably couldn't sing Metallica all night long. I had a better chance singing country.
Instead of throwing bras on stage, they were throwing bouquets on stage. So it was a little different feel. But that's true about even growing up in Wyoming. You listened to about everything because you had, some kids were rockers, some kids were country kids. You listened to a lot of stuff because, everything got kind of thrown at you, but you weren't really into anything. Yeah, it was just, it's weird when you live out here kind of in rural Canada or rural Wyoming or what, but that's cool. So you swerved to the country aspect, and then you were doing a cover band. You still do a ton of covers. When you go check him out, danbadgermusic.com. You go check out his Facebook. He's on YouTube. You still do a bunch of covers. How much do you throw a couple rockers in there still?
You know what? Since COVID, a lot of things have changed. It's a lot of acoustic performances versus full band. There's, just due to lack of venues and lack of revenue for those venues, right? So, but yeah, you'll definitely hear me play some Poison. I actually opened up for Bret Michaels, a few years back. Yeah. And that was the very first song I ever learned to play on guitar. So, you'll hear some of that. You'll hear some Tom Petty. You'll hear some 50s and 60s. You're going to hear my own stuff, and you're going to hear, some traditional country. You're going to hear some George Jones, and you're going to hear some Merle Haggard, and you're also going to hear some Jelly Roll, and you're going to hear some Blake Shelton and whatnot. So I really, you get a little bit of everything when it comes to my show, I think.
Yeah, when you go and check him out. You mentioned Poison, which is funny. We're going to talk about Poison because you open for Bret Michaels. Better Luck Next Time has kind of a Poison feel to it, even. But what was this song you learned from Poison? Every Rose Has Its Thorn?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's your favorite Poison song?
You know what? I think that's their biggest hit, and that's the one. If I played piano, I would be performing Something to Believe In.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be sweet if you could pull that off live. COVID hits. You guys just get completely shut down. You had to change a little bit. What'd you start? You started doing Zoom rights with other people.
Correct. Yep, and actually, all my recordings were always done in Canada, because that's what you did. You brought all your musicians in, you did your bed tracks and everything else.
Yeah.
Because of COVID, you couldn't record. You weren't allowed to even go into a studio as a group.
Oh.
So all the studios were actually closed down. But that's when we changed I changed my my aspect on recording. A friend of mine, he's from Ontario, but he lives in Nashville, and he's like, I've produced music and I've produced songs and stuff, but I've never produced for radio. He goes, if you want to give me a shot, we'll try it. If you like it, great. If you don't, then we'll just kick it to the curb. And so now all my stuff is actually, most of it's generally recorded in Nashville in somebody's basement and emailed around the world. Wow,
yeah, it's amazing what you can do nowadays with technology. And COVID helped or hurt that or whatever, however you want to think. But the band, well, you go check out Dan's website, danbadgermusic.com. You go click on live. There's some videos from Sarah's Hall. Is this your band? Is this the normal band that you have?
Most of the time, yeah. Yeah, that's the guys that I try to make sure that they're not busy when I have the full band gigs. Absolutely.
Is the guitarist, is this your producer, or is this just your guitarist?
That's my guitarist when I perform live.
Okay.
The guy that does my producings, he lives in Nashville. So
Oh, okay.
something about too much traveling to get to my gigs.
That's a little bit of a commute from Ontario to Nashville. Because, I mean, the guy on your band, he just shreds on guitar. He's amazing.
Yeah, he is. He's awesome.
Yeah, go check it out. They're on his website, danbadgermusic.com. You can go check him out. He's on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. His latest single, Better Luck Next Time, is out now. Well, your one song, Summer Days, you're kind of a storyteller, Dan. This song is about, tell us about it. It's about you living in Quebec, your youth, what?
So yeah, my mom passed away when I was very young, and I moved to Ontario, and I spent all my summers in Quebec. So, I mean, you nailed it with that being a story being told there, real life stuff, you know. I feel like even though I lived in Ontario, you know, most of the year I spent my summers, and that's where I did my growing, and I spent my summers, you know, in the barns, you know, milking cows and feeding cows and haying. So that's, you know, George and I, we were baling hay. That's my Uncle George, you know. We had a local pool that I went and hung out at and learned to swim, and they have a lot of they call them in Quebec, they call them canteens, and they generally have you know, some soft serve ice cream and some poutine and you know, and so I mean, again, it's a whole bunch of emotions. That song really hits home for me, and people that know the story, they're like, yeah, I remember that. So that's exactly what that song is.
Yeah. Well, and you can even feel it when you go watch Dan. He's got a couple live videos of him performing Summer Days, and you can feel the emotion when you're singing it. You can tell it really touches you. You've been writing like a song a year. I mean, this song, Better Luck Next Time, is just going viral everywhere. You're getting played all over the world. Are we going to ramp it up? Are we thinking more coming up in the future?
Absolutely. This was my first time sending the song out internationally, so I'm very proud of how it's turned out and how it's going. I've been in talks with my producer about possibly doing an EP or maybe even jumping up to a full-length album. It's just you know, balancing time and costs, right?
Yeah, that's with any independent artist. Time and money. That's your biggest two hurdles.
There's been a lot more writing. There's a lot more songs. There's just not enough money.
Yeah, exactly. Money and time and to get it all done. It's crazy. But this song, Better Luck Next Time, this is the story's crazy. This song was meant to be, Dan, because this song wasn't even meant to be a radio single, and here it is blowing up.
Absolutely. When I went into the studio, my intentions were to not really have a lot of actual musicians on it. It was all programmed, computer programmed. I just wanted to put something out on Spotify just to give my fan base something new. So when I went into the studio, and we computer programmed everything, the song was done in 3 hours. You know, a couple $100, actually under budget. It was perfect. But you listen to the song, and this song just demanded more, and so it became a game of, well, we'll do this, and then once you did A, then it led to B, and B led to C. You know, I'm very fortunate for the players that I brought in. I mean, they nailed their parts. Each one of them made this song so much more. It was just amazing how this song demanded life, and I think it got the life that it deserved.
Yeah. I mean, how tough was it when you're listening to it and you're like, okay, well, that's great, but we need more with this song? I mean, was it you and your producer going, yes, I completely agree with you? What were their feelings?
So we did everything here in Ontario, and my regular producer down in Nashville he'd moved, so he didn't have his studio fully set up, so he wasn't in a position to do any new material at the time. So that's kind of one reason why I was looking at keeping the budget down and not doing a full radio production. But we sent it to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I can play guitars on it, but I just can't produce the rest of the song." I was on my way to Toronto to Toronto Maple Leafs game, and he gave me a call. He says, "I finished I redid the guitars for you," and he says, "I'm going to tell you now." And he said, "It sounds like Poison." I'm like, "Dude, I love Poison." And it was a full-on rock song. There was no ands, ifs, or buts. I mean, it definitely sounded like a Poison song. So that led to, and we just had John Party's drummer lay down the drums for us. Miles McPherson. But now I've got this rock song. The vocals still fit over top of the song, but the emotion of the vocals don't fit. So I had to redo the vocals just to get the right emotion with what had changed. And then I don't know how much Canadian content comes down there, but we have a guy up here. His name is Dean Brody. So I reached out to his fiddle player. I said, "Here's the song." I said, "It's a rock song. I need you to toss something in here to bring this back to the countryside." And his name is Shane Gousset, Fiddle Player of the Year for a couple of times in the CCMAs. I think he's a retired legend in the CCMAs because for his instrument. And again, just all the players contributed exactly what was needed for this song, and I think we got a nice balance there between rock and country, and I guess that's kind of where I find my home.
Yeah, and it works perfect. Better Luck Next Time is a brand new single by Dan Badger. Go check him out, danbadgermusic.com. He's on Facebook, YouTube. He's even on TikTok. Go and like him on TikTok because he wants to play live for you. And he needs more followers, so go and follow him on TikTok. Well, Better Luck Next Time. What was the inspiration when you were writing this song? What happened to you where you were like, Better Luck Next Time?
You know what? I had a co-write with a gentleman, Terry Furneaux in Ottawa, and we were just writing over Skype, and we were just discussing different song ideas and what we were going to do, and it really just it came down to that storytelling part. We came up with what we felt was a title, and we turned it into a story, and that was really how Better Luck Next Time kind of developed.
Nice. Are you a poker player? Because the lyric video has a lot of poker chips in it.
Well, I think I sent the lyric video out to get made, and that was the interpretation because there was some poker in the lyrics, and it was not what I imagined, and I'm like, you know what? That's perfect. So
it works. So go to YouTube. You can check out the lyric video for Better Luck Next Time. This Friday night, you're playing at Joe Friday's on the Square. You're playing bass? What's going on here?
That's something I've done for 15, 20 years with these guys. It's a bunch of guys that get together, and we don't have a set list. We all sing.
Fun.
And literally we all call out a song, and and each one of us takes a turn. So it's just kind of going back to basics. We do that a couple times a year, so it's just going out and having some fun. And I haven't played bass since the last time we got together.
So, might be a little rusty for the first song or two, but go check him out this Friday night at Jill Fridays on the Square. What is it, in Goderich?
Goderich, Ontario.
Goderich, Ontario. Go and check him out. You can go check out all of his dates. He performs all the time. Go and look at him at danbadgermusic.com. Well, I know you got a son. Is he too old to trick or treat? What are you doing tonight?
I have two sons, actually, and yeah, both of them are too old. So,
So you're off the hook.
I'm off the hook. I just gotta go to the candy store and give him a box of Kit Kats, and I think we're done.
And he's good for the night. Well, go and check him out, danbadgermusic.com. Here is his latest single, Better Luck Next Time. Dan, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
It's KIX 96.5.